Welcome to Finding Your Frequency. I'm Brian Sexton, and this is the show where we meet people here in North Florida who are doing things, finding out where they're headed and what success looks like in their career. And today we're thrilled to have Chelsea Kavanagh, the Chief Communications Officer from JAXPORT. A busy time for you. Thanks for making time to come over.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
So when I think about the port, I think of a massive economic engine, but it's one that not a lot of people get to see every day because you're up on the river, and unless you're on Heckscher Drive, you probably don't see all the comings and goings. But there's a lot going on there. What's at the top of your list right now?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Heckscher Drive because anybody who has driven down that road recently, you will see an incredible explosion of industrial real estate. And what that does is that anchors cargo volumes at the port. So whenever importers or exporters, when they build facilities here, then they really want to use a local port because it's of course cost effective for them. And so what we're looking at is some of that off-terminal development. You know, we're growing on the terminal, we're investing in our auto capabilities and our container capabilities, but some of that off-terminal warehousing that we're seeing is going to be huge for us as we look to the future because it provides the additional off-terminal capacity for us to handle more cargo, and of course more cargo means more jobs.
So you've been there a decade. You have seen massive growth. Where does Jacksonville and JAXPORT sit on the East Coast in terms of prominence might not be the right word, but it's obviously a very important port.
Yes, we are very important to the economic security of our region and of course our entire state. We are Florida's largest container port, so that means we move more containers than any other container port in the state, any other port in the state. And we also move a significant amount of vehicles as well. So chances are if you buy a vehicle, specifically like a Toyota, for example, it probably came through Jacksonville. Another product that we move is also called break bulk, which is non-containerized cargo. So that's things like paper products, things like box, you know, for if you buy a bottle of Tylenol, you might not think about the little box that it comes in, but that's a type of cargo that we move as well.
You know, people hear the term supply chain, and a lot of business people deal with it every day, but when you think about the boat comes in and the train car or the truck driver that moves it, there are a lot of pieces in that supply chain that move it all. How do you guarantee the security of the supply chain? Because I know that's an issue you deal with at the port.
I think it's just regular communication with all of our partners. You know, you mentioned that there's a lot of nodes of it, and that's definitely true. You know, it starts on the river with the crew, with the ship and the crew, and those on the port who help dock the vessels, those on the terminal who help move the cargo. But then there's also the truck drivers that take it to the warehouse, and then from the warehouse it goes to the stores. So there's a lot of different steps in the supply chain. Of course, during the pandemic, we all saw when one of those nodes falls apart, really we as consumers start to see that. And so that shows the importance of a seamless supply chain. So that's something that we really try to work towards. We didn't see any disruption during the pandemic, and we're particularly proud of that.
Yeah.
And I think it shows the strength of Jacksonville's transportation network, that we are truly resilient and able to serve the needs of not only the region, but also the state as well.
Well, and everyone, Chelsea, can relate to the products that they buy that were in short supply, you know, during the pandemic, that are now back on the store shelves, and we probably all take it for granted at some point. You have actual numbers that back up the impact of port with your economic study.
Yes, so we do a study every 5 years, and you know, JAXPORT's mission, supply chain security is very important to us, but our mission is to create jobs. We are an economic engine for Northeast Florida. And so we do this study every 5 years just to make sure that, of course, we are trending, you know, in the right direction. It's a good benchmarking tool for us. So our report is done by an independent economist, and he found that statewide cargo activity through Jacksonville's seaport supports more than 200,000 jobs. So it's 207,000 jobs throughout the state, and also 28,000 in the region. So those are all jobs that are dependent on the cargo that moves through the port.
So tell me about how you do it, because I know you're a mother of two girls, right? You're married, you have a family, and yet this is a job that's, I don't want to say it's 24/7, but when things happen around the country, around the world, I know you're engaged in how it affects the port. How do you balance it all?
I think it starts with loving the job. I really do. You know, I don't even like to call it a job because I think a job is something that you have to go to. But I love this job, and I love serving our maritime community. You know, I always said I never wanted to go to a job that felt like, you know, you're just doing something to get a paycheck. And I think the maritime industry is so important to our region. You know, you talked about getting the goods that we all use, we all buy every day. You know, that part of it's important. And also just seeing the people who come to work every day, knowing that our existence as a port provides opportunity for their families. You know, our economic impact study talks about salaries of port-dependent jobs, and they pay higher than the average statewide salary. So we create a lot of jobs, and we also create good paying jobs for our community.
So that makes it easy for you when you're juggling everything at home, which is never
Yeah.
easy with little ones.
Yeah, and I really want to set a good example for my girls, and so I want to share that passion with them, so that whatever their passion is, that they find whatever their calling is.
You're the Chief Communications Officer.
Yeah.
Tell me, if you can, where's the port in 10 years? Is it bigger? Is it more important? Is it more vibrant? Where will JAXPORT be in 2034?
It's funny that you asked that, because, of course, we are embarking on a new strategic planning session. So we do those every about 5 years as well. And so we're all sitting down and looking at what that looks like. And I can definitely say that we're very excited for the future. Jacksonville is so well positioned for supply chain success well into the future. We recently added a new cruise service. So we focus a lot about cargo, because that is the bulk of the jobs and the economic impact. But we also do have a successful cruise business, so we're excited about that. And so I think from the cargo side, from the cruise side, people are moving to Florida in droves every single day.
Right.
And so all of those people who move here, they need goods, they want to go on vacations. And so all of that really positions JAXPORT and Jacksonville and our entire region for continued growth and success. You asked earlier about kind of where we fall in the East Coast.
Right.
And our position is very enviable, because we are within a one-day truck drive of nearly 100 million U.S. consumers. And so when you look at the
that
cost,
puts it in position.
yeah, so you look at the cost to get goods to people, that's very quick. There's a lot of efficiencies there, and all those people want to go on vacations, and we're well suited for that from a cruise perspective. So when I think about 10 years from now, I certainly hope to still be here. I've been here 10 years. I want to be here another 10 years.
For sure.
But I think the future looks bright.
Well, the future looks bright for JAXPORT and vibrant for you as well. I remember when you started, and to see you sitting as the Chief Community Officer, congratulations on all your success and all the important work that you're doing at JAXPORT. I hope you'll come back.
Thank you. I'd love to be back.
All right. Chelsea Kavanagh, Chief Communications Officer at JAXPORT. Thanks for joining us on Finding Your Frequency. We'll see you next time.